And as a result, the Prime Minister has decided to descend into the gutter, and all of his cabinet with him.
Parliament in shock as Nigel Farage confronts David Lammy over controversial remarks. You're not going to believe what just happened inside Parliament. It started as a normal debate, calm, structured, the kind of thing you'd expect on a Thursday afternoon. But then, everything changed. Within seconds, the tone shifted. Voices rose. Chairs shuffled. And before anyone could blink, Nigel Farage was on his feet, absolutely livid, going straight at Labour's David Lammy over what he called deeply out-of-touch remarks. The room went silent for a moment. And then, it erupted. Here's what actually happened and why it's being talked about across the UK right now. It all began when Lammy made a comment about reclaiming Britain's political narrative, something about restoring unity, bringing the nation together. On the surface, it sounded harmless enough. But to Farage, the message hit a nerve. He stood up, adjusted his papers, and with that trademark smirk, fired back. Mr. Lammy, it's easy to talk about unity when your policies divide ordinary Britons more than ever. The chamber tensed. Lammy, known for his fiery responses, didn't back down. He accused Farage of twisting the national debate for attention. That's when things really took off. Farage slammed his hand on the desk and said, "You've forgotten who you're supposed to represent. The people who can't afford these endless political experiments, the ones outside your Westminster bubble." The reaction was instant. Audible gasps. Some MPs clapped, others booed. The Speaker had to call for order twice. It wasn't just a debate anymore, it was a showdown. And while all this was happening, social media was already lighting up. Clips of the exchange spread within minutes. One video of Farage's outburst hit 2 million views in under an hour on X. Comments flooded in. Farage just said what half the country's been thinking. Lammy didn't see that coming. This is the most real thing I've seen in Parliament all year. Of course, others had a different take. Some accused Farage of grandstanding, turning a policy discussion into personal theatre. One political blogger wrote, "Farage knows how to command a camera. Every confrontation becomes a headline, and that's exactly the point." But whether you support him or not, no one could deny it. He had everyone's attention. Nigel Farage has been building momentum again. Ever since his return to mainstream debate, he's been using every platform, GB News, radio interviews, even TikTok, to reignite his brand of populist energy. David Lammy, on the other hand, represents a newer wave of Labour's communication, articulate, socially conscious, measured. The two couldn't be more different. So when their paths crossed in Parliament, it was only a matter of time before sparks flew. But what made this particular exchange explode wasn't just what was said, it was the timing. The UK is standing at a crossroads. The economy is fragile, voters are frustrated. Trust in politicians is scraping the floor. And into that tension walked two men, both with powerful voices, both fighting to define what Britain means in 2025. Sources inside Westminster said even some Labour MPs were uneasy after the clash. One was overheard saying, "Farage got under his skin and it showed." Another Conservative backbencher reportedly joked. This was the first time in months anyone actually listened during a debate. Outside Parliament, journalists scrambled for soundbites. BBC analysts called it the most heated exchange of the month. Sky News described it as a collision of populism and progressivism in real time. And you know what? They're not wrong. Because this wasn't just another shouting match, it was symbolic. It was two visions of Britain colliding live for everyone to see. Let's break down what each side was really saying. Farage's attack wasn't just about Lammy's comments, it was about representation. His message was clear. Politicians have lost touch with the people who keep the country running. That's been the heartbeat of Farage's career from Brexit to every speech he's made since. He taps into disillusionment, the feeling that ordinary voices don't matter anymore. Lammy's counterpoint was just as passionate. He argued that populism divides, that unity requires leadership, not slogans. His exact words, "Leadership is about inclusion, not incitement." That drew a mix of applause and grumbling from opposite benches, a reminder that even in moments of chaos, lines are clearly drawn. But beyond the shouting, something deeper was revealed: the growing frustration within Parliament itself. Politicians on both sides are feeling the pressure. Every statement is dissected, every clip goes viral, and every debate can become a career-defining moment. And today, Farage seized that moment. Within hours, GB News aired a full replay of the exchange. Talk shows were looping it. Analysts called it a masterclass in populist timing. Even foreign outlets from Australia's Sky News to US commentary channels picked it up, framing it as another sign of Britain's shifting political mood. Here's where things get interesting. For months, the narrative around Parliament has been one of fatigue-long speeches, predictable exchanges, little passion. But today shattered that image. Farage's fury, Lammy's pushback, the audience's reactions, it felt alive. Like old-school democracy had woken up, even if just for a few minutes. And as one observer put it, for the first time in ages, people actually cared about what was being said inside that chamber. So, what's next? Farage will no doubt double down, using this moment to remind voters that he's still the loudest anti-establishment voice in British politics. His allies are already framing the clash as a reckoning for the elite. Lammy, meanwhile, faces a different challenge, balancing strength with composure. He's likely to defend his comments in upcoming interviews, stressing unity and leadership. But the damage or the impact, depending on where you stand, is already done. Because after today, one thing is certain: people are paying attention again. And that's the bigger picture here. Politics isn't just about policies, it's about moments that define perception. A few sentences, a flash of anger, a perfectly timed rebuttal. That's what sticks in the public's mind. And this moment, Nigel Farage versus David Lammy, will be remembered as one of those flashes. A reminder that, even in an age of cynicism, a few words can still shake the halls of power. So, what happens next may be the real story. Will this spark a wider debate about who really speaks for the British people? Or will it fade like so many other viral moments, loud today, forgotten tomorrow? One thing's for sure: the fight for Britain's political soul just got louder.